Chapter 1597. Very good. Looks like she can't hold it in anymore. She really is Mion's best friend. Huasiqian smiled meaningfully. Boss, if she comes we'll be in danger. Do we need to call more people over? His subordinate seemed to be very wary of the sheik they were talking about. No, I just need to make a call. After speaking, Huasiqian picked up his phone and dialed a number. Then he spoke a long string of words in German that no one understood. Finally he hung up. Done, I'm going to give her a big present. Huasiqian smiled. At the entrance of Sea City International Airport, a long-haired girl wearing a long black trench coat walked in with her hands in her pockets and a pair of black sunglasses. She walked out of the international airport exit with two burly men following behind her. Hello, we are China Customs. We suspect that you are carrying contraband. Please accept our investigation. Two armed police officers walked over and blocked the girl's path. The girl took off her sunglasses and smiled. Officer, are you mistaken? I'm still a student. Do you have a student ID? Yes. She smiled as she took out an ID from her bag and handed it over. The police officer glanced at it and then said with a straight face, "We found an unknown object on you during the investigation. Please cooperate with our investigation." But I'm in a hurry to do something, the girl said coquettishly. Please cooperate with our investigation. It won't take too long. Thank you. Just then the two burly men behind the girl were about to make a move. The girl immediately raised her hand and gestured for them not to move. Then she smiled. Okay, I'll go with you. The two of them are coming too. Okay. The girl smiled as she followed the two police officers. The two burly men followed the girl closely, their eyes cold and vicious. Just as they passed by a secluded passageway, the girl suddenly made a move and choked one of the police officers' neck. The two burly men behind her immediately went up and stopped the other police officer. Mike, keep them alive, don't kill them, the girl reminded loudly after knocking out the police officer in her hand. The subordinate nodded and knocked out the other one as well. Boss, the police are so troublesome. Why don't we just kill them? I don't want to start a massacre here. The girl took out a white handkerchief and wiped her fingers before leaving with her subordinates. I have a bad feeling about this, the girl said faintly. How do you feel? I think we're being targeted. These two police officers are just the beginning. The young lady felt that her entry this time was not as smooth as the last time. She was checked as soon as she got off the plane. It seemed that his father was right. Sea City wasn't a good place to stay. First Hospital, Chu, are you really not coming with us? Chin Chu's uncle looked at him seriously and asked. Uncles, you guys leave tonight and take good care of my dad. After I'm done I'll fly over with Mion to meet you guys. Big brother. I'm a little worried about you. Why don't I stay? Qin Ning was a little worried. Oh, all of you leave. Don't leave a single one behind. Qin Chu's attitude was firm. Afraid of being ambushed by Huasiqian's people, they prepared a private plane. Qin Chu's parents, Qin Chu's uncle and his sister all left on this plane. If that's the case we'll wait for you guys in Hawaii. You must be careful, Qin Chu's uncle reminded him. I know. After giving his orders, Qin Chu left the first hospital. However, at a fork in the road he was stopped by a red Ferrari. Rick. Qin Chu opened his mouth slightly. Come to Seductive Fox with me. I have something to tell you. I have something urgent to do right now. I'll find you when I get back. No, now. Get out of the car. Rick took out his gun and pointed it at Qin Chu with a cold expression. This time he was serious. Chapter 1598. At such a crowded intersection, Rick's actions were undoubtedly frightening. In the end, Qin Chu had no choice but to follow Rick to Seductive Fox. On the top floor of Seductive Fox, what is it? Qin Chu sat on the sofa and asked in a low voice. Where were you going just now? Qin Chu didn't respond. You're going to kill Huasiqian, right? Rick asked. Qin Chu didn't respond. That's what Huamin is most worried about. She asked you to do it again and again but you insisted on doing it. Even if you don't think about yourself you should think about your wife. After I kill him I'll go save Huamian. There's no conflict, Qin Chu said calmly. What if you make a mistake and die? Rick was furious. Do you think I'm afraid of dying? Qin Chu looked up and looked into Rick's eyes. His eyes were so deep that they seemed bottomless. When Qin Chu was furious he was still as calm as the ocean. This was what made him different from others. It could also be understood as the calm before the storm. Of course you're not afraid of dying and neither are others. But have you thought about what would happen to Huamin if you died? After a long silence, Qin Chu slowly opened his mouth. If I die, she still has Su Yu. As soon as he finished speaking, Rick punched him in the face. It was a heavy punch and he didn't hold back at all. Qin Chu's right cheek immediately swelled up slightly. I didn't think that you'd say something so crazy. Who do you think Huamin is? Do you think she'd leave a spare tire for herself? If you die, she'll still have Su Yu. Don't you think you're a jerk for saying that? Rick never thought that Qin Chu would have such a ridiculous idea. Qin Chu wiped the blood from the corner of his mouth. Then he slowly said, Rick, you might not realize how much of a threat Huasiqian is to Mion. If he doesn't die, he'll be a nightmare for Mion. I can't let him continue to hurt Mion, so I can't be merciful anymore. I have to kill him. I'm quite confident in my skills. If I make a mistake, the worst that can happen is that we both die together. It's worth it to exchange my death for Mion's peace and quiet. But how can Huamin have peace without you for the rest of his life? Rick was furious. I told you that Su Yu will take good care of her. Even if she dies with me, it won't change anything. Rick, many people in China believe in reincarnation, but I don't believe in reincarnation. We only have this life and there's no next life. So, even if Mion dies with me, it won't change anything. I won't let her die. I want her to live well with or without me. Rick was completely silent after hearing this. He finally understood. It wasn't because Qin Chu didn't love Huamin enough, but because he loved Huamin too much. So he had to get rid of Huasiqian for her and pave the way for Huamin's rest. Qin Chu loved Huamin so much that he had such selfish thoughts. You two are crazy. One of you is in prison and the other is risking her life to take the blame. One of you is sacrificing yourself for the other. Rick was about to go crazy. If I don't come back, Su Yu will definitely find a way to get her out. Mion will be fine. After speaking, Qin Chu slowly stood up. Just as Rick was about to speak, Qin Chu said, If you're my brother, then don't stop me. This is the path I chose. I'm Huamin's man, not a coward. I won't stop you. Go. Rick lowered his voice. Chapter 1599. When Qin Chu got up and walked to the door, he felt numbness on the back of his neck. Then he turned around and looked at Rick in disbelief. Rick, you. Before he could finish, Qin Chu fainted on the ground. I'm sorry. I can't watch you die. I promised Huamin that I would protect you. Rick looked at the fainted Qin Chu and murmured. He didn't want to use anesthesia on him, but he had no choice. Qin Chu was too stubborn. He looked like he was going to fight Huasiqian to the death. Rick was also in a relationship, so he knew what Qin Chu meant. Even if he had to die, he wanted Huamin to live a carefree life. Qin Chu loved Huamin too much and didn't want her to be hurt. However, Rick thought that if she lost Qin Chu, so what if Huamin lived a peaceful life? Would she be happy? Of course not. She would live the rest of her life in pain of losing Qin Chu. Boss, what should we do with Mr. Qin? Rick's men came in and looked at Qin Chu, who was under anesthesia. Send him to the secret room first. Also, remember to handcuff him. He's very strong. If the anesthesia wears off, you guys won't be able to defeat him. Yes, boss. After they carried Qin Chu away, Rick walked out of the office, exhausted. A girl in a dark green cotton jacket ran over to him. She held Rick's hand intimately. What's wrong? Are you tired? Yes. Are you still worried about Huamian and the others? Yes. Don't worry. I think Huamin is a very kind girl. She'll be fine. Cici, it's not as simple as you think. Rick looked at the girl gently. Actually, it's not that complicated. Don't think that I don't know anything. It's just that Huamin and her husband are very much in love, and the big bad guy Huasiqian wants to interfere. But the main problem now is that Huamin is still a murderer. He's in prison and facing trial. Rick felt depressed at the thought of Huamin still in prison. Huamin isn't a murderer. She wouldn't do that. She just wanted to protect her husband. Her husband isn't a murderer. This is all a trap set up by that big bad guy. Cici, do you believe in Huamin? Rick patted Cici's head lovingly. Of course. I've always idolized Huamin. I know everything about her, including the time when she went beyond her authority to perform surgery on a pregnant woman. I don't believe that such a kind girl would be a murderer, and I don't believe that she would use such a cruel method to kill. That's why I know what's going on right away. Rick glanced at Cici in relief. I'll do my best. Rick wasn't a talkative person. This was his promise to his friends. Inside the presidential suite of a 5-star hotel, a beautiful girl quickly climbed in through the window. "Boss, are you okay?" "I'm fine. I blew them up. That's strange. We were so secretive this time. How did they know we were here? Did someone leak our location on purpose?" Her subordinates were very confused. The girl walked to the wine rack and poured herself a glass of red wine. Then she slowly tasted it. "Don't underestimate the people here. They're very powerful. Huasiqian isn't a simple person. So many people investigated him for 6 years in Germany, but they couldn't find anything. I have to say he's a very powerful person. Boss, there's one more thing." "What is it?" The girl raised her head slightly. Chapter 1600. The Qin family will take a private plane out of here tonight and fly directly to America. But Huasiqian's men sneaked onto the plane. Seems like they want to kill the Qin family. How could they be so despicable? The girl put down the wine glass in her hand, slightly stunned. "Do we need to help?" "Of course. Send someone to rescue them immediately. We can't let anything happen to the Qin family." The girl immediately ordered her subordinates to help the Qin family. She knew that they were her sister's family and that her sister loved them dearly, so she couldn't let anything happen to them. "Yes. That psycho Hua. Everyone says that my sister doesn't like him. If it were me, I wouldn't like him either. He's inhumane. He's worse than a dog or a pig." The girl's evaluation of Huasiqian was that he was worse than a dog or a pig. She had never underestimated him and knew that he had his own power in Germany. Although no one had ever found out, she had a feeling that he was closely related to a certain organization. Otherwise, he wouldn't have been able to control everything in Dongtao Town and obtain so much information. She also suspected that he had purposely leaked her whereabouts to her sworn enemy. Was he trying to stop her from saving her sister? Her subordinates went to rescue the Qin family. The girl sat in the presidential suite and was about to enter the bathroom to take a bath. Just then she heard the doorbell ring. "Who is it?" she asked. "Room service." The girl walked over and opened the door. The moment she opened the door, the waiter took a gun and aimed it at her head. Luckily, the girl reacted quickly and dodged to the side. Then she rolled up the towel in her hand and threw it at the waiter. Ever since she stepped foot on this land, she had never had peace. She was stopped at the airport for no reason, got into a car accident and was hunted down by her nemesis. Now the hotel had arranged for assassins to come in. She was overwhelmed. Luckily it was her. Otherwise she would have died 1,000 times over. She regretted coming here now. It wasn't that she was afraid of death. It was that she didn't want to bring more trouble to her sister. The people who hunted her down had been following her all these years. What if they found out about her sister's identity? If that happened, then she would never have a peaceful life. It seemed that her dad was right. The next morning, the Hua Corporation held a ribbon-cutting ceremony for a project. All the leaders in the city came. There were also many important figures in the business world gathered in front of the Hua Corporation. All the media were in position waiting to take pictures of this lively scene. On the stage, Huasiqian was dressed in a red suit. He looked extremely flirtatious and had a mesmerizing smile on his face. "Next, let's welcome our President Hua to cut the ribbon. Everyone give him a warm welcome." After that, Huasiqian turned around and picked up the scissors from behind the hostess. Just as he was about to cut the ribbon, someone rushed out from the side of the stage. Without a word, he threw a vicious punch at Huasiqian. "Someone hit me! Someone hit me!" The stage was in complete chaos. It was a good ribbon-cutting ceremony, but it turned into a mess. Many tabloid media immediately seized the opportunity to take photos. At this moment, after taking a closer look, everyone realized that the one who had hit him was the dignified crown prince of the Su family, Su Yu. "Well, this is big news. Lord Su beat up President Hua. Quick, take a picture." The reporters crazily squeezed forward and took photos furiously. There were even people on the scene who were doing live commentary. Next, let's take a look at the chaos at the Hua Corporation's ribbon-cutting ceremony. For some reason, the president of Imperial Star, Su Yu, seemed to be very emotional. He suddenly jumped out and beat up Huasiqian. "Everyone, please look behind me." Chapter 1601. "Su Yu, are you crazy? This is a public place." Huasiqian lay on the ground and looked at Su Yu. Su Yu pinned Hua Xiqian to the ground, his fists raining down on him mercilessly. Bastard, I want to hit you in public so you don't disguise people with your disgusting mask. You're a beast in human clothing. I never thought that you'd rather destroy Hua Min than see her happy. Then Su Yu punched Hua Xiqian's face again. Hua Xiqian could have fought back in self-defense. But he didn't. He just lay on the ground and let Su Yu punch him like a weakling. Haha, so you're doing this for Mion. No wonder you're so angry. But you've done so much for her, does she even appreciate your kindness? Hua Xiqian laughed wildly. Su Yu glared at Hua Xiqian. I'm not like you. I don't need her to appreciate my kindness. As long as she's happy, I'm happy. Oh, really? Then your love is really great. Unfortunately, I'm not as great as you. My principle is that if I can't have something, I'd rather destroy it. So Qin can't have it either. Even if you beat me to death, it's useless. Ah, didn't you hear the news? My father-in-law has already given the order. It will be announced tomorrow and the execution will be carried out in 3 days. My sister will be executed by shooting. Young Master Su, do you know what that means? It's a bullet that goes through her head and her brain explodes. From then on, Hua Min will completely disappear from this world. She doesn't belong to you, she doesn't belong to me, and she definitely doesn't belong to Qin. But it's perfect. Even under these circumstances, Hua Xiqian was still saying these things to piss Su Yu off. Su Yu was about to lose his mind. He raised his fist and continued to punch Hua Xiqian. The entire process was photographed and recorded by the media. When the police arrived, Hua Xiqian was already badly injured. Both sides of his face were bruised. Su Yu's fist also had a lot of red veins, which showed how desperately he fought. President Su, please come with us. You're suspected of assault. The policeman looked at Su Yu awkwardly. Su Yu stood up, panting, and swaggered away with the police. Hua Xiqian also went to record a statement. Hua Xiqian immediately sued Su Yu for intentional injury. That night, all the major media outlets published an article at the same time with the title, "The son of a high-ranking officer is extremely willful. The president of a group goes berserk on the street, lawless." This article aroused the anger of many onlookers who did not know the truth. They thought that Su Yu was using his background as a high-ranking officer to do whatever he wanted and bully ordinary people. Most importantly, Hua Xiqian was too successful at pretending to be pitiful. He was beaten up badly from the beginning to the end, but he did not fight back. Therefore he gained a lot of sympathy. The public opinion was one-sided. When Gao Ran saw Su Yu in the detention room of the Municipal Public Security Bureau, he was also depressed. Lord Su, aren't you being too impulsive? I can't stand that bastard swaggering through the streets. But you shouldn't have hit him. Hitting him was enough to vent my anger, Su Yu said confidently. But you're being detained too. Gao Ran didn't know whether to laugh or cry. It's just 48 hours of detention, I don't care. But he's suing you for intentional injury. I don't care either. But did you know? Hua Min's sentence will be announced tomorrow morning. Gao Ran looked at him and said seriously, "What sentence?" Su Yu stood up and looked at Gao Ran in panic. He was really afraid that Hua Xiqian's words were true. Gao Ran didn't say anything. Say it? Su Yu roared. The execution will be carried out in 3 days, Gao Ran said slowly. Su Yu felt his mind go blank for a moment. Chapter 1602. What did you say? Su Yu grabbed Gao Ran's collar in agitation and asked with wide eyes. She'll be executed in 3 days and the news will be announced tomorrow morning. Hua Min's situation is a little special. She confessed and turned herself in, so there's no need for a second trial. Of course, Mayor Song must have something to do with why she was executed so soon. Motherfucker. Su Yu cursed in exasperation. Just then a middle-aged man in a suit walked in. I'm Commander Su's lawyer. I'm here to bail young Master Su out, the man said haughtily. However, as soon as they heard that he was Commander Su's lawyer, the police officers' attitudes immediately softened. Su Yu, you can't do this, it's useless. We have to calm down, saving Hua Min is our top priority. What I'm saying is that we should all gather for a meeting. Jixin's back too. Also we can go find Qin and Dr. Jiang. We can discuss this together. I'm sure we'll find a way. No need, I have my own way. Su Yu shook off Gao Ran's hand and left angrily. Su Yu had always been dissatisfied with the police's attitude, because they never found the so-called truth. Qin and Hua Min, two innocent people, went to jail one after another. while the real murderer Huasiqian got away scot-free. Therefore Suyu had always been indifferent to the police and even a little disgusted with them. Therefore he didn't listen to Gao Ran's suggestion that they should all think of a way. After Suyu left, Gao Ran called Qin Chu but his phone was turned off. Gao Ran immediately called Jixin. Jixin, big brother Gao Ran. Where are you? Sky Blessing Court. Have you contacted your brother-in-law? I contacted him yesterday. Brother-in-law said that he had something to do and would call me when he was done. Oh no. Qin Chu, that idiot. Gao Ran didn't dare to think too much. He immediately ordered his subordinates to investigate Qin Chu's whereabouts. After a long investigation, they discovered that he had last appeared at Seductive Fox. Furthermore, he had only entered and not left, which meant that Qin Chu was still in Seductive Fox. Then Gao Ran called Rick. Is Qin Chu with you? Yes. Put him on the phone. He can't answer the phone right now, Rick replied faintly. Inconvenient? What did he mean? Is he injured? Gao Ran's heart tightened. No. Then, Qin Chu is with me, he's very safe. I promised Huamin that I wouldn't let anything happen to him, so I've detained him for now. I won't let him fight with Huasiqian. After hearing what Rick said, Gao Ran immediately understood what was going on. Then, what about Huamin? What do we do? How do we save him? Gao Ran was anxious. I'll send someone to break Huamin out of prison and arrange for her to go to the States to meet with Qin Chu. Meet with Qin Chu in the States, you mean? Gao Ran was a bit surprised. Yes, I'll arrange for Qin Chu to go to the States tomorrow night because he's Huasiqian's target, so he can't stay here for long. This is also Huamin's idea. Alright, I'm clear now. Hearing that Rick had made arrangements, Gao Ran finally let out a sigh of relief. It seemed that the death penalty wasn't a bad thing for Huamin, because before that he would have a way to save her. Inside a secret room in Seductive Fox after the anesthetic, Qin Chu gradually woke up. You're awake? Rick sat on the sofa beside him and asked quietly. Chapter 1603. Rick, what are you doing? I'm just following Huamin's orders. Let go of me, I have to save her. Don't worry, I'll save her for you. Rick, you don't understand. As long as Huasiqian doesn't die, he'll definitely stop us from saving Mian. Don't worry, I'll save Huamin even if it costs me my life. That's my promise to you, my friend. Qin Chu didn't say anything. He knew that Rick was stubborn and wouldn't change his mind easily once he made up his mind. There's something else I have to tell you. Qin Chu slowly raised his head. What? She's here. Who? Qin Chu didn't know how to react. Buyan. She? Qin Chu didn't expect Huamian's sister to be here. When did she enter the country? Yesterday, and as soon as she entered the country she was hunted down and assassinated. Seems like Huasiqian knows she's here, so he's been causing trouble for her. Upon hearing this, Qin Chu fell silent again. Anyways, other than you there are a lot of people who want to save Huamin. Lu Yen, Suyu and me. All of them, please believe us. It's not that I don't believe you, Rick, I just... Before Qin Chu could finish his sentence, Rick interrupted him. Tomorrow night, I'll arrange for a private jet to take you to the States. You have to leave first, Huamin ordered. After I save Huamin, I'll take her to the States to meet you. No, I'm not leaving. You have to go, you have no other choice. Then Rick stood up and left. Rick? No matter how much Qin Chu yelled, Rick insisted on leaving. After Rick left, Qin Chu began to think about the events of the past few days. Mr. Qin hadn't woken up yet. He was still in a coma after the major surgery. Although the critical period was over, there were still many things to pay attention to in the future, so he decided to go to the United States for treatment. That day Mama Qin told Qin Chu something that shocked Qin Chu. Huamin was pregnant. Later, when Mama Qin told him the whole story, Qin Chu calmed down. He guessed that Huamin might have told a white lie to appease his father. Otherwise, why didn't Huamin mention something as important as pregnancy to him? Even Jiang Xiaowei and Zhu Lingling, who were such good friends, didn't know about it. Most importantly, prisoners had to go through strict medical examinations. If Huamin was pregnant, the death penalty would not be carried out. The news had been announced long ago, so Qin Chu thought it was fake. Indeed, because Huamin still didn't know that she was pregnant. Huamin sat quietly in the prison. Her period had been delayed for about 10 days. This had never happened before, but it was a special time. Huamin was a doctor, so she thought that it might be because she had been in a bad mood recently, which caused her endocrine imbalance. Therefore, she still didn't think that she was pregnant. After all, the last time she was with Qin Chu was under such stressful circumstances. And it was just that one time. Huamin, have some fruit. A female prison guard came in with a colorful fruit platter. The other female prisoners were so jealous that they could die. She even had fruit to eat? What kind of treatment was this? When two female prisoners passed by, they glanced at her and began to gossip. Do you know who's locked up in this room? Why is she treated so well? Not only does she have 4 dishes and 1 soup, but she also has fruit. Why is she so special? Chapter 1604. Who knows? I heard she has a powerful background. Anyway, the warden comes to see her every day. But I heard she's a murderer. I don't know who she is. It's strange. I've seen her once. She's pretty and young. What a pity. Thank you. Huamin took the fruit platter and put it on the table. She made the bed neatly behind her. She didn't feel like she was in a prison. She just felt like she was no different from the outside world, except that her movements were restricted. She ate well and slept well. She picked up a piece of kiwi and took a bite. Her stomach felt uncomfortable again. What's wrong? Where do you feel uncomfortable? The female prison guard asked with concern. I'm fine. Maybe it's a stomach flu. I'll go get the doctor. Huamin immediately grabbed the female prison guard's hand. Oh, it's okay. I'm really fine. At this moment, the female prison guard lowered her voice and said, Don't be afraid. I think you'll be fine. You'll be out soon. The warden comes to see you every day. I know you have a powerful background. Actually, I'm not. Huamin didn't know how to explain. She really wasn't the daughter of a high-ranking official, nor was she a high-ranking official. She didn't need these people to look at her as if she was an alien. You don't have to say it. I understand. Anyways, I'll take good care of you. If you need anything, just tell me. Thank you. You're welcome. You eat first. I'll go check around. Then the female prison guard stood up and left. Huamin, however, didn't have the appetite to eat the fruit anymore. He kept thinking about how Qin Chu was doing. Was he in a hurry? In a dark motel on the outskirts of Sea City, Lu Yan changed into a black suit and high-heeled leather boots. She looked valiant. She pulled the dagger out of her boots, checked it and put it back. Boss, are we really going to rescue him tonight? Yeah. But, speak. But I just checked the almanac. It says it's not a good day to break into the prison. The brawny subordinate looked wronged. Lu Yan looked up and pinched his ear. The almanac says it's not a good day to kill. Do you believe that I can kill you right now? Boss, don't be like this. What I mean is that young Master Qiao has already sent us a message asking you to return to Russia as soon as possible. When have I ever listened to Psycho Qiao? Lu Yan rolled her eyes at him. But, young Master Qiao is very scary. I think it's better if we don't go against him too much. Cut the crap. After we rescue them tonight, we'll go back to Australia. After an hour, I'll drink red wine with my sister on a private jet tens of thousands of meters high in the sky. Lu Yan seemed to be in a good mood. At this moment, the door opened and another subordinate walked in. Boss, everything has been arranged. After we blow up the prison, the rescue helicopter will arrive in a minute. Then we will fly directly into the open sea. They won't be able to catch up with us in time. Very good, let's go. Lu Yan was in high spirits. She was going to blow up the prison tonight to save Huamin. However, she did not expect to be surrounded by people the moment she stepped out of the door before she could even get into the car. Dozens of submachine guns were pointed at her head. A black Porsche was parked in front of the building. The man who got out of the car had a devilishly handsome face under the moonlight. He was wearing a Russian military uniform and had a head of silver hair. He looked mysterious and cold. Young Master Qiao. Lu Yan's subordinates were all dumbfounded. Come with me. He took Lu Yan's hand and walked away, his voice extremely melodious. Psycho Qiao, let go of me. I really can't go back with you. I have to rescue him. Chapter 1605. You have to come with me, the man said firmly. I'm telling you, if anything happens to my sister, I'll kill you. Before Lu Yan could finish, the man replied coldly, Don't worry, your sister will be fine. Even if you don't come, many people will save her. You should be worried about yourself. You can't even save yourself, why are you still worried about others? I've been living a life of being hunted down for years. I'm used to it. What's there to worry about? Lu Yen didn't care. Since you're so good at gathering information, do you know that Ian came to Sea City? What? Lu Yen looked at Xiao Fei with wide eyes. Seems like you really don't know. When did he come? His plane will land in 3 hours. Are you sure you don't want to run now? Lu Yen, who had promised to save Huamian, was completely dumbfounded. She knew very well who Ian was and how scary he was. He was the demon that her father was very wary of. Psycho Chow, is your information accurate? Are you sure Ian is coming? The man glanced at her and said, why don't you stay and have afternoon tea with him in 3 hours? Fuck, are you kidding me? Forget it, I'll go with you. I heard the scenery in Russia is very beautiful at this time of the year. You don't want to leave your sister? Xiao Fei looked at Lu Yen with disdain. Actually, my sister is very popular with men. Even if I don't do anything, many people will save her. For example, the Rick family, the Su family's young master, and that psycho who won't let her die. There are many opportunities to see my sister, so I'm not in a hurry. Lu Yen immediately smiled guiltily. The man seemed to have seen through her thoughts. You're afraid that Ian will find out about your relationship with Huamin, and you'll never have a peaceful life again. After all, you've had enough of these days. You don't want your sister to have to live like this. Can you not be so smart? Boring. So if you keep talking nonsense, I won't be able to save you when Ian lands. Then the man shook off her hand and got into the car. Lu Yan's attitude immediately changed. She followed the man into the car and secretly left Sea City. Hua family mansion, boss, she left. So fast. Yes, someone is here to pick her up. Are you from Russia? Hua Xiqian smiled. Yes. Hee. No wonder someone treats her so well. What should we do now? Send a message to the other side. Tell them that they have already escaped and don't need to come. Will Godfather get angry? That's not something I should be concerned about. I'm not his subordinate. I'm only responsible for providing information, not helping him, Hua Xiqian said as he played with the 2 shiny walnuts in his hands. Lu Yen came to Sea City in a hurry, but the news was leaked and she was hunted down. They chased him from a 5-star hotel to a small hotel in the suburbs. If it weren't for Xiao Fei's sudden appearance, she might have really broken out of the prison tonight. At that time, who knows what would happen. It was said that plans couldn't keep up with changes, but who knew that Ian and Huamian were so terrifying that even an explosive like Lu Yen had to be afraid of them. In the end, these international forces left one after another. Sea City returned to its usual tranquility. That night at the Su family mansion, Mr. Su and Lord Su rushed back from Jing City to deal with Su Yu's assault. Lord Su, on the other hand, was quite calm. He didn't think that his grandson's fight was a big deal. Mr. Su felt like he had lost all face. Mrs. Su called Su Yu and asked him to come back. When he came back, everyone was there. What's going on? Are they going to impeach me? Su Yu walked over to the sofa and sat down. Chapter 1606. Mr. Su immediately reprimanded him. Stand up and talk to me. Su Yu stood up reluctantly. Su Yu, how old are you? Are you a child? Do you know that you're almost 30 years old? It was Su Yu's father who said this. When he scolded Su Yu, he also looked very angry. There's a reason, Su Yu only replied with 4 words. What made you crazy enough to hit someone in front of so many media outlets? And the person you hit is a big shot? Mr. Su questioned. It's a long story. How dare you play forward idioms with me? Mr. Su was so angry that smoke was about to come out of his mouth. He said a lot, but his son only replied with 4 words. Dad, don't be angry. After Su Yu said these 4 words, Master Lord Su couldn't help but laugh. Dad, you're still laughing. Look at this bastard, how much have you spoiled him? Mr. Su looked at Master Su speechlessly. This kid. He wasn't even so knowledgeable when he was in the army, and now he's playing with ancient poems? Master Lord Su looked at his grandson and smiled. Look at what the newspaper said. They said that you hit the president of the Hua Corporation because you were jealous. They said that both of you were fighting over a recently popular female celebrity. Is that true? They're making groundless accusations and distorting the truth. You're still playing forward idioms with me? Master Lord Su roared. This time it's 8 words, Dad. Su Yu looked calm. Mr. Lord Su was about to get up and get angry when Master Su reached out to stop him. Grandpa is asking you why did you hit someone. I don't like him. This time it was also 4 words, but it wasn't an idiom. You can't be so willful. Your words and actions represent the entire Sue family. Grandpa, I'll take responsibility for my own problems. If they want to lock me up, they can do whatever they want. I'm really not afraid. Bullshit. If they lock you up, it's like slapping my face. How can I not feel bad for my own grandson? I'm not blaming you. I just want to tell you that as a public figure, you can't be so impulsive. I know, Grandpa. I just think men shouldn't argue when they can fight. It's a waste of time. You still have the nerve to say that. Suyu's father pointed at him angrily and scolded. Son, apologize to your father and admit your mistake, Mrs. Su said gently. I didn't hit my dad. Why should I apologize? Why should I admit my mistake? Suyu said innocently. Mr. Su was speechless. Lord Su was speechless. Mrs. Su was speechless. I'm telling you, this isn't over yet. Once I'm done with this, you'll scram to Jingdu. You're not allowed to run this stupid entertainment company anymore. Learn how to manage a bank and take over the family business. I'm sorry, President Su, I'm not interested. After speaking, Suyu got up and walked upstairs to his bedroom. Dad, look at this bastard, what kind of attitude is that? Mr. Su was so angry that he was about to have a heart attack. Suyu, on the other hand, didn't listen to anything they said. It was as if the family meeting didn't happen at all. He's grown up and has his own thoughts. We can't pressure him too much. After all was said and done, Lord Su was still biased toward his grandson. The next morning, the news that Huamin was going to be executed in 3 days spread all over the country. At 6 in the morning, all the major media outlets were fighting to report on the news. Jiang Xiaowei asked Wei Liao to call Suyu early in the morning. Then she asked Gao Ran, Zhu Lingling and Jixin to discuss countermeasures. In the end, Gao Ran told them that Rick was going to break Huamin out of prison. Jiang Xiaowei was very worried. She had a feeling that Hu Xiqin was going to do something. Suyu didn't say much. Lord Su, say something. Don't keep quiet, we're all worried sick. Tang Chuan was also worried and asked. Chapter 1607. I have nothing to say. It's already like this. You guys chat, I'll leave first. With that, Suyu got up and left. Lord Su is acting weird today. Tang Chuan said. Is he planning to give up on Mian? Zhu Lingling asked with a pout. No, I know him better. He must be desperate to save Huamin. That night, Suyu drove back to the Su family mansion for dinner after work. At the dinner table, Suyu's father was still nagging about what happened yesterday, and Suyu didn't refute. Mrs. Su kept putting food into her son's bowl. Son, eat more. Play a game of chess with Grandpa after dinner. Okay, Suyu agreed, which was rare for him. Inside the Su family mansion, Suyu set up the chessboard and shouted, Grandpa, we can start now. The old man came over to take a look and was slightly surprised. What kind of game are you playing? He was checkmated as soon as he started. Was his grandson setting up a game for him to solve? Just as Lord Su thought of this, he saw Suyu kneel down in front of him. What are you doing? Grandpa, please save Huamin. Who's Huamin? Lord Su had obviously forgotten about this. She's the female suspect in the murder case of 327. Nonsense. I told you this is impossible. Our Su family can't interfere and we can't interfere. Grandpa, I beg you. I haven't begged you for anything all these years, this. Suyu gritted his teeth, his eyes red. I really can't do this. You've been messing around all these years and I've turned a blind eye to it. But this is too big and will involve a lot of things. I'm old and I really don't want my reputation to be ruined. Master Lord Su's attitude was firm. He turned around and sat in front of the chess table. You're giving me a hard time. General Sai. Master Lord Su looked at the chess game and sighed. 3 seconds of silence. Suyu silently raised his right hand. A black pistol had appeared in his hand out of nowhere. What are you doing? Master Lord Su's expression changed drastically. Grandfather. If you don't agree then. I can only die in front of you. Bastard, you dare to threaten me? The old general had joined the army at a young age and had worked hard in the army all his life. He had seen all kinds of storms. But now, seeing his grandson pointing a gun at him and threatening him with suicide, Lord Su's heart was trembling. He knew that Suyu was not a child who liked to scare people. Once he said something he really dared to do it. That was why he was really scared. Grandfather, 3 seconds, I'll count to 3, think about it. You can scold me 1,000 times or 10,000 times, but I can't watch her die, Suyu. Master Lord Su gritted his teeth in anger. 1, 2, when it was almost 3, Suyu's finger gently pulled the trigger. Stop, I agree. In the end, Master Lord Su lost in this 3-second confrontation. Suyu finally let out a sigh of relief. Although he knew that his grandfather would definitely agree, it took courage to really pick up a gun and point it at his own head. You brat, you're fucking useless. Don't say that you're my grandson in the future. Master Lord Su was flustered and exasperated. He nodded Suyu's head and walked out of the chess room. Before chess, Master Lord Su lost first. Inside a prison in Sea City, Huamin. Here. Come with me, I'll take you somewhere. Are you going to execute me? Huamin asked faintly. No, we're going to change places. Things have changed. Anyways, you can leave now. The prison guard didn't say much and took Huamin out of the prison in the middle of the night. They secretly escorted him out of the prison in a car. When Mayor Song found out about this, he was so angry that he smashed a tea set worth millions of yuan. Mayor, there's nothing we can do about this. The military is involved. What right does the military have to interfere with our local affairs? Mayor Song was furious. Jing City called. The famous military doctor, Professor Luo, said that Huamin is her only disciple and that he has a military rank. Since he has a military rank, he'll be sent to the military for trial. It's not our business anymore, the bureau chief explained to Mayor Song anxiously. Where's that woman right now? She was taken away by the military. Bing. Mayor Song was so angry that he smashed his phone. Hua family mansion boss, there's news from the prison. Miss Hua was just taken away. Who took her away? This time even Hua Xiqian was shocked. Chapter 1608. The military. The military? Hua Xiqian was slightly surprised at first. Then he immediately realized who it was. He narrowed his eyes and said in a serious tone, the military actually dared to intervene. Seems like Suyu put in a lot of effort. Although he knew that Suyu had a lot of power and influence, the matter of Mayor Song's daughter wasn't that simple. Previously, the military hadn't intervened, so Hua Xiqian thought that Suyu's grandfather wouldn't help. He didn't expect that at such a critical moment he would make a move. 2 things could be seen from this. First, Suyu truly loved Huamin. Second, old Master Su really loved his grandson. That was why he ignored the rumors and his reputation in the military and forcefully intervened in this matter. One had to know that once the Su family got involved in this matter, it would be equivalent to severing ties with the local government. That would be really interesting between them and Mayor Song. For Huamin, Suyu was going all out. Boss, what should we do now? Should we stop the military's car and snatch her? Hua Xiqian glanced at his subordinate. Are you fucking crazy? Snatch her from the military? How many brains do you have? I just want to help the boss get Miss Hua back. About this, I'll think about it later. You guys can leave. Sir. After his subordinate left, Hua Xiqian's face darkened. Previously he wanted to kill Qin Chu in prison, but that girl Mian ruined it. Now he wanted to switch Mian and go to the island when the death penalty came. Now it was ruined by Suyu. Hua Xiqian's plan had always been flawless. However, it was all messed up by a sudden accident. It seemed like he had to replan everything again. Suyu was impulsive and didn't think too much about the cause and effect of his actions. Therefore, this kind of person was often the most difficult to deal with. Huamin, on the other hand, was quick-witted. He did it on purpose so that Hua Xiqian couldn't do anything. This is really enough. Hua Xiqian snapped the cigarette between his fingers. His eyes were dark and gloomy. Seductive Fox Rick walked into the secret room in a black overcoat. Let me tell you 2 things. Qin Chu raised his head and slowly looked at Rick. First of all, Mian is out of danger. You don't have to worry. How did you get out of danger? Qin Chu was overjoyed. The military is involved. It's Suyu's family. Where is she? Where are you now? Qin Chu's eyes flashed. He was very happy. Right now we don't know where he is. The military is too secretive. But apparently they will escort Huamin to the military court in Jingdu. It's just a formality and then we'll talk about the rest. But you just need to know that as long as he's in the hands of the military, nothing will happen to Huamin. I know. Qin Chu finally let out a sigh of relief. Your family is in the States. Your uncle called me. I've already talked to him. I'll take you to the plane in a bit. You have to leave today. I'm not leaving. You have to leave. When Huamin comes back I'll send him to you. Then before Qin Chu could protest, Rick waved his hand. His subordinates immediately escorted Qin Chu away. My brother sent a private jet to pick you up in international waters. I'll take you there. Don't worry, get some good sleep. I believe that in a few days you'll be able to see Huamin in the States. GK has already begun to take over. Your uncle said that the GK headquarters will take over. Don't worry. Rick, I'm taking Mion with me. Chapter 1609. Not yet. We're not sure how long it'll take for Huamian to complete the process. Everyone wants you to go first. Huasiqian's been too quiet lately, so quiet that it's scary. I don't trust him. I'm afraid he'll do something despicable again. You know what? Even Lu Yen was taken away by force. Huasiqian's 6 years of absence. It's not that simple. From now on we don't have to underestimate him. Even Lu Yen isn't afraid of him. When Rick said this he was extremely serious. Who was Lu Yen? She was Huamin's biological sister, the most wanted criminal in the world. She was one of the best mercenaries and was used to a hail of bullets since she was young. She always lived a life of being hunted and being hunted. She once caused a huge explosion and killed the leader of a villain in the Middle East. She became famous in the mercenary world after that. It was said that the jobs she took were at least 100 million yuan. She didn't take small jobs at all. The last time she secretly came to Sea City and blew up an underground money house, it was said that she got 150 million yuan. Huasiqian wasn't afraid of such a powerful girl. It was obvious that he knew about Lu Yan's background. He was also confident that she wouldn't kill him. Therefore Rick didn't think such a person was easy to deal with, so he wouldn't let Qin Chu stay in the city. He had to go to the States first. Everything else could wait. Rick. Qin Chu seemed like he wanted to say something. Bro. Have a safe trip. After things calm down I'll go to the States to find you. Also when you see my brother, remember to say hi. Rick, who was usually cold and calm, actually smiled. He could finally help Huamin for once and let Qin Chu leave safely first. Huasiqian wouldn't have expected Qin Chu to leave in such a special way. Rick sent him to the international waters in a helicopter and then someone came to pick him up. The whole process took place in midair. This way it wouldn't be easy for someone to destroy it. Rick personally sent Qin Chu to the helicopter and then went to the international waters with him. Late at night, a huge black plane was hovering there and the timing was just right. After confirming that it was his brother's men, Rick transferred Qin Chu safely. Then he waved goodbye to Qin Chu. Huamin was secretly escorted onto the plane, blindfolded. She didn't know where she was going, but she knew that she was safe. If she stayed in prison she would be executed in 3 days. It would be best for her to leave now. It was only at a secret organization that Huamin opened his eyes. The moment he saw that person he was stunned. Huamin, do you still recognize me? The old man smiled slightly. Perfect. She was no stranger to this person. He was the most famous doctor in the military region that Suyu had invited from Jingdu when Qin Chu was shot. Later, Professor Luo liked Huamin's talent and personally called her to come to Jingdu to take her as his disciple. Huamin politely refused and never contacted him again. It had been a long time since the incident. It was a big surprise to see Professor Luo again. Very good, you still remember this old man. Professor, what's going on? What happened to you? Huamin looked surprised. Professor Luo glanced at Huamin and smiled kindly. I was asked by Commander Su. Commander Su? Suyu's grandfather? Huamin couldn't believe it. He really couldn't believe that such a big shot would personally take action for his own matter. Chapter 1610. Yeah. I heard that the commander's grandson is a good friend of yours. Yeah. Huamin nodded. He's been running around for you. He really pushed the old commander to the brink. Aha, but I can tell that he's a righteous person. Then Professor, am I fine now? Huamin looked at Professor Luo in disbelief. Yes. You'll be fine now that you're in our hands. Listen carefully, here's how we're going to save you. I'll announce to the public that you're my only disciple and that you've joined the military with a military rank. The commander has already arranged everything for you. You're now a second-class sergeant on the military medical staff, so no matter what you do, you'll have to go through the military court. But this time your case is quite serious. You're a murderer, so we can't let you go too openly. You'll stay in Jing City for a few days and we'll give you a physical checkup. Then we'll find a loophole and say that you're not feeling well and need medical parole. Once the higher-ups approve it, you can leave here and rest abroad. Huamin didn't think that such a serious case like this would be so simple for the military. Professor Luo seemed to know what Huamin was thinking, so he asked, "Are you wondering why the military saved you so easily?" "Yeah." Huamin nodded honestly. "Little girl, let me tell you, this isn't simple at all. Anyone with a brain knows what's going on. To put it bluntly, it doesn't matter how you get out. What's important is who's protecting you. I've known the commander for so many years and he's always been open and honest. He's never done anything for personal gain. Even when his grandson was in the military, he didn't make an exception to take care of him or promote him. But this time he put in so much effort for you. This can only mean one thing." "What is it?" Huamin looked at Professor Luo in confusion. "Suyu, he successfully threatened his grandfather," Professor Luo said word by word. Huamin didn't feel good after hearing this. How did Suyu convince his grandfather about such a big matter? Professor Luo joked, "If you weren't married, I would have thought that you would become the granddaughter-in-law of the Su family. This treatment." Huamin blushed. "Professor, don't joke around. The Su family is a powerful family. I'm not that lucky." After all, Professor Luo was an elder. She was not used to such jokes. "Okay, since you're clear, you can stay here with peace of mind. You'll have to stay here for the next few days. After the physical examination, we'll come up with a plan and apply for medical parole for you." "Okay, thank you, Professor." "You don't have to thank me. You should thank the commander and Suyu." After Professor Luo finished speaking, he stood up and left with a smile. Huamin was sent to a clean and tidy room, which was comparable to a 5-star hotel. The environment was very good. Compared to the prison, it was like heaven and earth. She didn't ask Professor Luo where she was, but since she saw Professor Luo, she guessed that she was in Jing City. Huamin thought about what Professor Luo said and fell into deep thought again. At the same time, she wondered if Rick had left with Qin Chu. Would Huasiqian stop him? Would Qin Chu be in danger? Anyways, it was another sleepless night. 4:15 a.m. Rick was awakened by his phone ringing. He looked at the caller ID and immediately woke up. He quickly picked up the phone. "Bro, what's up?" "Rick." The other side of the phone was silent for 5 seconds. Then he heard Lino say in perfect English, "The plane crashed 5 minutes ago in the Pacific Ocean." "What did you say?" Rick felt like he was struck by lightning and couldn't move. Chapter 16:11. The plane crashed. "I'm not sure what caused it, but there are only 2 possibilities. One is that an enemy spy planted a bomb on the plane, and the other is that the plane was attacked." "What about Qin Chu?" Rick felt like his heart was about to stop. "The plane exploded and burned into pieces. The 4 bodyguards, 1 captain and 2 flight attendants I sent on the plane, all died. As for Qin Chu, his whereabouts are unknown." His phone fell to the ground with a thud. Rick was completely dumbfounded. Rick, are you still there? I've already asked the nearest country for help. I'm sure we'll have news soon." Rick. No matter what Reno said, there was no response from Rick. Rick only felt as if something in his heart had cracked open and was spreading. The plane exploded tens of thousands of meters in the air. Even if someone was lucky enough to survive, the sky was so dark. Below them was the deep waters of the Pacific Ocean. How could anyone survive? Rick knew that even though his brother didn't say that Qin Chu was dead, there was a high chance that he was killed. Grief, sadness, self-blame, shock. All kinds of complicated emotions flooded his mind. Rick hugged his head with both hands and collapsed on the bed. He felt like he was going to faint. Suddenly, he couldn't think. If he didn't force Qin Chu onto the plane, nothing would have happened. If he didn't arrange everything on his own, the plane wouldn't have crashed. At that moment, there was only one thought in Rick's mind. "I killed Qin Chu." "Miss Cece. Is Rick here?" "Boss is inside." But Rick's subordinate wanted to say something but stopped. "What's wrong?" Cece looked worried. "Boss is in a bad mood. He's been cooped up in there for the whole day." When Cece came, Rick had been sitting there with his head in his hands for 7 hours. "Rick, why didn't you pick up my calls?" Cece's voice was gentler than ever. Rick lowered his head and didn't say anything. He looked very depressed. What's wrong? What happened? Cece walked over and held Rick's hand. He slowly looked up. Chinchu, he's dead. What kind of joke is this? Cece was shocked. I'm not joking, it's all my fault. The plane crashed. Chinchu is dead. Rick's voice was hoarse, and his eyes were bloodshot. How did this happen? It must be Huasiqian, that bastard. I'm going to kill him. Rick's eyes filled with murderous intent as he spoke. Cece was heartbroken to see him like this. She hugged Rick's neck. Cece, what? How am I going to explain this to Huamion's dead? What am I going to say when she's back? Tears welled up in Rick's eyes. Cece's tears fell as well. Rick, this was an accident. No one wanted this to happen. Although the plane crashed, maybe Chinchu is still alive. Cece's CCM's eyes after all. Chin, what should I do? How am I going to explain this to Huamin? Just then Rick's phone rang. Cece glanced at it and then looked at him. Scow ran. Rick slowly picked up the phone. Hi Rick. Yeah. Is Chinchu in the States? Why can't I reach his number? Chapter 16:12. Gao ran. Can you help me call everyone over? I have something to tell you. What is it? I'll see you at Seductive Fox in half an hour. Then Rick hung up the phone. Are you going to tell them? Cece also thought that the truth was too cruel for everyone. Yeah. Rick nodded. He forced himself to stand up. After all, he was the young master of a mafia family. Although Rick was sad, he still pulled himself together. He wanted to tell everyone about this. Otherwise, they would be worried if they couldn't contact Chinchu. Half an hour later, Wei Liao, Jiang Shaowei, Gao Ran, Zhu Lingling, Qin Jie and I Yang Jishin, Huamin's family and friends were all present. Rick pushed open the door to the private room and walked in wearing a black cashmere coat. He looked extremely haggard. As soon as Jiang Shaowei saw Rick, she knew that something bad was going to happen. Rick, do you have something to announce? Gao Ran asked. Rick nodded slightly. Then he looked around at everyone and said, I received news that Huamin was released on bail. We already knew that. Don't forget that I'm in the city bureau. Although I'm only the captain of a small criminal police team, I'm pretty well informed. Last night, the military intervened and Huamin was transferred to Jing City by Professor Luo. I knew right away that it was Old Master Su's order. I have to commend Lord Su for this. Hey, where's Suyu? Then Gao Ran realized that Suyu wasn't here. He was grounded by Lord Su. I think he was punished, Wei Liao said. I really need to thank Suyu for this. Thank goodness he's here. When he comes out, I'm going to treat him to a big meal to thank him for saving Mion. Zhu Lingling seemed to be in a good mood. Everyone was still immersed in the news that Huamin was safe. I'm guessing that Huamin will come back safe and sound in less than a week. If he's released on parole, he'll probably have to go abroad. Rick already sent Chinchu to the States. When Huamin comes back, we'll have dinner with her and she'll have to go to the States with us. It'll be hard for us to see the couple again, right? Gao Ran looked at everyone with a smile and then looked at Rick. Is Chinchu in America now? We can't get in touch with him, Jiang Shaowei asked nervously. Rick's face darkened. He swept his gaze across everyone's faces and said quietly, Chinchu, he's dead. What? Are you kidding me? Rick, don't try to scare us, it's not funny. Everyone had the same reaction. They all looked at Rick with strange expressions. I'm not kidding, I never joke. I sent Chinchu to international waters last night and saw him get on the private plane that my brother arranged for him. He was supposed to arrive in Los Angeles safely today, but last night when the plane was flying over the Pacific Ocean, there was an accident. I'm not sure if it was an external attack or if someone planted a bomb on the plane. Either way, the plane exploded and crashed. The 4 bodyguards, 1 airport attendant and 2 flight attendants that my brother arranged for were all killed. Chinchu's whereabouts are unknown, but under those circumstances he's probably dead. That's why I called you guys here today to tell you that Chinchu is dead. After Rick finished his speech, the entire room fell silent. Nonsense, I don't believe that my brother-in-law is dead. Jishin was the first to jump up and point at Rick. Chapter 16:13. Rick glanced at him calmly. I don't want to either, but it's the truth. How is that possible? How? Oh my God. Zhu Lingling burst into tears as soon as she said this. She couldn't stop her tears from bursting out. Jiang Shaowei also sat there blankly with a pale face. Her eyes gradually became moist. Wei Liao was sad as well, but he still had to take care of the pregnant Jiang Shaowei. What if Sister Mian finds out? What should we do? Ni Yang sat there in a daze, his hands tightly clenched. Qin Jie held onto Ni Yang's arm and silently cried as well. Fuck. It must be Hua Xiqian. I'm going to fight him to the death. Gao Ran finally understood why Su Yu would beat up Hua Xiqian without a care in the world in front of so many people. That scumbag really had no bottom line. Not only did he scheme against Hua Min, but he also wanted to kill Qin Chu. So, Gao Ran was really pissed off this time. He pulled out his gun and walked out. He cried as he walked. Such a grown man, such a pure man would actually cry in public one day. Rick blocked his way. What you're doing won't help. That's my first reaction when I found out. But you have to know that we won't be able to kill Hua Xiqian if we act rashly. Plus, people will talk about it. We have to get revenge. Qin Chu is my brother too. If you're willing, I think we can work together and take him down. What do you think? After hearing Rick's words, Gao Ran calmed down a lot. The problem now is, what should we tell Mian when she comes back? Jiang Shaowei asked. She was a very calm and logical person, and her IQ was not much lower than Hua Min's. She was the smartest and calmest person here. After Jiang Shaowei raised her question, everyone fell silent once again. I don't want to say it. If you want to say it, you can say it. I really can't say it. Zhu Lingling burst into tears. Me neither. Jiang Shaowei turned her head away. She couldn't be such a cruel person. Jixin's face was full of anger. All he wanted was revenge. His heart ached even more at the thought of his sister having to face the truth of his brother-in-law's death. Ni Yang raised his head and interrupted. I was thinking, didn't you say that President Qin's whereabouts were unknown? At this time no news was good news. Perhaps the fact that they couldn't find the body meant that he was still alive? Am I right? I think we shouldn't be too pessimistic. In that situation the survival rate is very low. Kid life isn't like watching movies or TV shows. There's no such thing as luck, understand? Wei Liao looked at Ni Yang and cruelly exposed the truth. Then everyone fell silent. Rick suppressed his grief and said, as for Hua Min, I will personally apologize to her. This is all my fault. If I didn't insist on forcing Qin Chu onto the plane, he wouldn't have gotten into this accident. Gao Ran patted Rick's shoulder and said, don't think that way. You're Qin Chu's best friend and I'm sure you're doing this for his own good. Now that something has happened, I'm sure you're feeling terrible. We can't put all the blame on you. That's not fair to you. Ever since Qin Chu and Hua Mian's accident, we've been trying to figure out a way to save them. We can't afford to have internal strife right now. So Rick, don't blame yourself and don't feel too guilty. Although Qin Chu's chances of survival are slim, I still believe that he's still alive. Gao Ran's words made everyone cry again. Zhu Lingling cried even harder. Chapter 16:14. They're still searching, but it's in the Pacific Ocean. It's too difficult. If they don't find anything in 3 days, they'll give up. By then, Qin Chu's death might be confirmed. Hua Min might come back anytime soon. I'll tell her about this. Also, please stay alert. Hua Xiqian is the devil. He won't stop just because Qin Chu is dead. Don't forget his target is Hua Min. Jiang Shaowei looked up. I agree with Rick, we can't relax. Hua Xiqian will definitely do something to Hua Mian. We need to think about our next step. What's going to happen to GK? Gao Ran asked. As far as I know, Qin Chu's uncle took over the company and it's now under the management of the U.S. headquarters. Does the Qin family know about Qin Chu's death? Gao Ran asked again. They don't know yet. I'll ask my brother to contact Qin Chu's family in the U.S. After Rick said this, everyone fell silent again. When they walked out of Seductive Fox, everyone looked sad. Jixin didn't cry much, but his expression didn't look right. Jixin, don't go back to Sky Blessing Court, it's not safe there. Why don't you stay at my place? Jiang Shaowei offered. It's okay, sister, slightly, I'm just an insignificant person. That scumbag Hua Xiqian won't do anything to me. Jixin, come to my place, I have space there too. Zhu Lingling held onto Jixin's arm. It's really okay, Sister Lingling, I'm not a kid anymore. I'll stay at home and wait for my sister to come back safely. Then Jixin lowered his head and said in a hoarse voice, my mom doesn't know that something happened to my sister. And she doesn't know that my brother-in-law. Okay, let's all go home. We'll keep in touch if anything happens. Remember to be careful. I'll keep an eye on Huomin's movements in Jing City. Oh right, Wei Liao, if you have time go ask Lord Su about the military. Okay, I'll call him later. Wei Liao nodded. After they got into the Mercedes-Benz RV, Jiang Xiaowei felt a bit uneasy. What's wrong? Honey, get someone to keep an eye on Jixin. If he does anything strange, knock him out immediately and send him to our place. What? Do you suspect him? Yeah, I think that kid will do something stupid. Now that Mian isn't here and Qin Chu's whereabouts are unknown, I can't let anything happen to Jixin. Otherwise, I won't be able to explain myself to Mian. Okay, I'll get someone to keep an eye on him. After Wei Liao and Jiang Xiaowei got home, they were about to have dinner. Wei Liao received a phone call. Then he looked at Jiang Xiaowei with admiration. Honey, you guessed it right. What? Did Jixin do it? Yeah, that dumb kid. He took a fruit knife, changed his clothes and left the house. He's going to the Huosiqian mansion to get revenge. That dumb kid. Do you think Huosiqian is that easy to deal with? Yeah. Good thing you reminded me or else I'd be in trouble. If Huosiqian caught him, he'd be charged with trespassing and assault with a knife. If he was convicted, he'd be in jail for at least 7 years. Wei Liao was very grateful for his wife's quick wits. Where is he now? My people knocked him out, tied him up and sent him to our place. Okay, put him under house arrest for now. We'll talk about it when Mian comes back, Jiang Xiaowei instructed. Honey, what happened to Lord Su? Did something happen to him because he tried to save Mian? Ever since Mian escaped danger, Su hadn't done anything. Jiang Xiaowei felt like something was wrong. Wei Liao wanted to say something but stopped. Obviously he didn't want to say it. What happened to Lord Su? Jiang Xiaowei was so anxious that she pinched Wei Liao's arm. So many things had happened recently and she couldn't bear to hear bad news from her friends. Chapter 16-15. Lord Su is really under house arrest. Just because he wanted to save Mian? Jiang Xiaowei froze. Do you think it's that simple? If it was, the Su family would have done something when Qin Chu went to jail. This is especially difficult because the victim is Song Yisher. Mayor Song is in charge of a city. Although his rank isn't as high as Lord Su's, he's still a mayor. The mayor's daughter's tragic death is a slap to the government's face. The leaders of the province have already said that they're going to punish Lord Su severely. Now that Lord Su is involved, do you think it's okay? Do you think government matters are that simple? After Wei Liao finished speaking, Xiaowei fell silent. She was smart, so she knew the gravity of the situation. Therefore Su was truly a god for being able to convince Lord Su to save Mian. I'm curious as well. How did Su convince his grandfather? Jiang Xiaowei slowly asked. Wei Liao only smiled bitterly when he heard this. What's with that expression? Jiang Xiaowei looked at her husband. If I tell you, you'll be shocked. Let me tell you, Su pointed a gun at Lord Su's head and threatened him. He's awesome, he only gave Lord Su 3 seconds, or else he would have shot him. The gun in Lord Su's hand was personally given to him by Lord Su when he joined the military. It's a Type 92 military pistol with a 9mm caliber and is extremely powerful. You can say that it's the king of our country's military pistols. It's extremely lethal, it can penetrate 3mm of steel and 50mm of pine wood within 50 meters. But that's not the most important thing. The most important thing is that this pistol has terrifying lethality. Once a bullet enters a person's body, it will create a large cavity and cause the greatest amount of damage. With a pistol like this, no matter which part of the body it hits, it will be fatal. Our powerful Lord Su pointed at his own head in front of his grandfather. Do you think Lord Su would be scared? After Wei Liao finished speaking, Jiang Xiaowei felt a chill run down her spine. She couldn't believe that Su was this crazy. He pointed such a terrifying pistol at his own head. If it accidentally went off, then she could only regret it in her next life. A person's life was the most precious thing in the world because everyone only had one life. Su was born into such a wealthy family and didn't have to worry about food and clothing. If it were anyone else, they wouldn't even be able to live to 100 years old. However, Su was willing to gamble his own life in order to save Huomin. Jiang Xiaowei was a fan of Qin Chu and Huomin. She had always envied Qin Chu's friendship with Huomin. From spring and autumn to winter and summer, from youth to white hair. That kind of relationship between childhood sweethearts. That kind of relationship where Chinchu was willing to face kidnappers single-handedly for Huamin. He was shot in the heart. She thought that in this world no one would ever treat Huamin like that again. But today, Suyu, seeing that Jiang Shaowei was silent, Wei Liao smiled helplessly. Sometimes I think if you was born, why would Liang be born? If Chinchu was born, why would Suyu be born? Chinchu's existence was the biggest torture for Suyu. Because he appeared too late, he missed out on everything. Even if he died for Huamin, even if he died that day, he still didn't get a hug from Huamin. Was this kind of relationship really worth it? But I know that to Suyu it was worth it. After Huamin got into trouble, he only said one thing to me, and that was, I won't let Huamin die. Chapter 16:16. It's been hard on you, Lord Su. Jiang Shaowei didn't feel good when she heard this. Lord Su succeeded in threatening Lord Su, but he's not having a good time either. Lord Su is furious. He's teaching him a lesson at home. Su Mansion. It was Suyu's first day of house arrest. Lord Su made him kneel in the ancestral hall of the Su family without moving. He wasn't allowed to eat or drink. He had to face the wall and reflect on his mistakes. Most of the Su family's ancestors were from the military. Su Yu's great-grandfather was said to be an important founding father when the country was founded. Later, he sacrificed himself in the war for the country and was given the highest honor by the country. In this generation, Lord Su was also the head of the military and was a famous marshal in Jingdu. Mr. Su chose to do business because he didn't like the old-fashioned style of the military. In Su Yu's generation, only Su Yu's third uncle chose to join the military. He was the commander of a company in the Air Force and was also a well-known figure. When it came to Su Yu's generation, he did want to be a soldier when he was young. Later, no one knew why he suddenly demobilized. Later on, he often ate, drank, and played. No one in the Su family mentioned this, and no outsiders knew about it. Su Yu knelt in front of the ancestral hall with his head lowered. Son, drink some water. Mrs. Su couldn't bear to see her son suffer, so she brought a cup of warm water. Don't give it to him. Make him kneel. Lord Su was exasperated. Su Yu didn't dare to take the water from his mother's hand. Brat, you're capable now. You actually used the pistol I gave you to threaten me. If you're so capable, don't point it at your own head. Point it at mine. Lord Su pointed at Su Yu and roared. How would I dare? Isn't that disgraceful? If I don't respect Grandpa, I'll be struck by lightning, Su Yu quibbled. You know that. Aren't you afraid of being struck by lightning when you threaten Grandpa? Didn't I do it for a reason? What's the reason? Just because of women? Look at yourself. How could you play with your head for a woman? After saying that, Master Lord Su hit Su Yu's back with his stick. It hurts. Grandpa, be gentler. I'm going to beat you to death, you little bastard. Not only did Lord Su not show any mercy, he even hit him harder. Dad, be gentle. He doesn't exercise anymore. He's not as strong as before. Su Yu's mother pleaded for her son. Grandpa, can you call me later? I have a question. Su Yu raised his hands and begged his grandfather as if he was surrendering. Ask away. Grandpa was fuming with rage as he glared at his grandson. Where's Huamin now? When will he be back? As soon as he asked that question, another blow came down on him. This time, Su Yu felt a burning pain all over his body. It seemed that Grandpa was really going to teach him a lesson this time. 5P room of a military hospital in Kyoto. Professor Luo. Huamin was resting in his room. When he saw Professor Luo walk in, he immediately stood up. Sit down. Professor Luo waved his hand and asked Huamin to sit down. Huamin, have you felt any discomfort recently? A little. Where? My stomach sometimes churns. I'm always nauseous. Maybe I've been in a bad mood recently and haven't eaten much. My stomach is hungry. It's probably gastritis. That's why it's protesting. Huamin smiled. You think it's gastritis? Professor Luo smiled. Yeah. Huamin nodded. I can't believe you're a genius doctor. How could you not know that you're pregnant? Professor Luo smiled lovingly. Professor Luo, what did you say? Huamin stood up excitedly again. Huamin, you're pregnant. The fetus is 55 days old and it's twins. Twins? Twins? Oh my God. Huamin covered his face with his hands and looked at Professor Luo in disbelief. Chapter 16-17. You can't believe it, can you? Professor Luo smiled. Yeah, it's hard to believe. Huamin couldn't calm herself down. She hadn't gotten pregnant for so long and now she was pregnant with twins? How ridiculous was that? The babies are still small. They haven't fully formed yet. Luckily, we can hear their heartbeats by listening to their heartbeats. Although this is a good thing for you, it's also tough. You're a doctor and you've worked in the OB/GYN department before. You should know that twins don't reach full term. They might be born prematurely at 7 or 8 months. It's tough, so you have to be mentally prepared. I know, I'll be careful. Huamin's eyes were still slightly teary. If Qingchu knew about this, he would be ecstatic, right? Her parents-in-law were also here. The babies they had been waiting for were finally here. It was rare to see an overly excited expression on Huamin's face. It was because her personality was simply too cold. However, Professor Luo wasn't looking at a genius doctor with a high IQ. She was just a little girl crying tears of joy. Huamin was so nervous and excited that her hands were clasped together. Her fingers were clasped together as if she was praying for something. But I'm curious. You've been pregnant for so long. They should have been able to find out when you were in prison. Why didn't they find out? If they didn't give you a checkup, they would have missed it. Professor Luo frowned slightly. Huamin's heart sank at this thought. She slowly opened her mouth and said, I think someone didn't want to hear about my pregnancy, so they chose to keep it a secret. Huamin's first reaction was that Mayor Song must have done something to the prison. Otherwise, with how long she had been pregnant, they would have found out a long time ago. A urine test would have been very obvious. A blood test would have been even more obvious. Her progesterone level would have been much lower than usual. Then, since you're pregnant, you should rest well. I've already submitted the evidence of your pregnancy tonight, and applied for medical parole for you. This way we can delay for a long time, and then we'll have more time to think of a solution. Thank you, Professor. Hey, don't thank me. I was just asked to do it. Otherwise, I wouldn't have the ability to drag you out of prison. If the higher-ups approve it tomorrow, you can leave here. The commander will arrange for someone to come to Jingdu to pick you up. That's great. Huamin couldn't suppress his excitement at the thought of going home and reuniting with Qingchu. Then rest early today. Tell me what you want to eat. Pregnant women can't be careless. Okay. Huamin did not hesitate and nodded slightly. It was just that she couldn't use her phone now, so communication was inconvenient. Otherwise, she really wanted to call Qingchu immediately and share the good news with him. Then she remembered that Qingchu might already be in America. Because before she came in, not only did she tell Jiang Shaowei some things, but she also talked to Rick alone. Huamin started to let his imagination run wild again. Because she knew that she was pregnant, she ate a lot for dinner and had a rare appetite. That night, inside the Su family mansion, when Lord Su picked up the phone, his face was solemn. Is the news accurate? He asked. Okay, I got it. Then Lord Su hung up the phone. Then he walked into the ancestral hall. Suyu was still kneeling there. Straighten your back. Lord Su scolded Suyu, who was reflecting in front of the ancestral hall. Chapter 16-18. Grandpa. I'm a little hungry. Grandpa, I'm thirsty. Grandpa, don't be so cruel. Am I not your grandson? Suyu looked at his grandpa and wanted to cry but had no tears. If you weren't my grandson, I would have thrown you into the sea to feed the sharks. You should be glad that you're the only one in this family. Otherwise, do you think I would have let you go? The old man seemed to be still angry. Grandpa. Suyu turned on his coquettish mode. He knew that his grandpa loved him the most. As long as he acted coquettishly, his grandpa's heart would definitely soften. At this moment, before Suyu could continue, Master Lord Su said slightly, "The girl you asked me to save is pregnant." What? Suyu was extremely shocked. I just received news from Jing City. They've applied for medical parole. Because she's pregnant, it's easier to handle. When the order is approved tomorrow, we can pick her up. She's pregnant. Suyu's expression was indescribable, whether he was happy or sad. In short, it was very complicated. Master Lord Su saw everything and scolded with his hands behind his back. You should give up now. Suyu licked his lips and didn't answer. He felt a little upset. However, at the same time he was happy for Huamin. He knew that Huamin had always wanted a baby. Moreover, at this time Huamin was pregnant, so it was easier for her to come out. It was simply the right time. Why aren't you talking? Are you upset? Master Lord Su asked. Why would I be upset? It's a good thing that she's pregnant. Suyu smiled bitterly. Okay, let's see how long you can last. There'll be news tomorrow morning. I'll send someone to pick her up. But because her identity is still sensitive, she can't go home immediately. It'll cause bad public opinion. I plan to let her rest in our local military hospital. Okay, Grandpa, I'll pick her up tomorrow. You're going? Master Lord Su was stunned. Well, I'll go. Someone else goes, I'll be worried. Su was very careful now. He was afraid that something would happen to Huamin. The Rick brothers had planned for so long and meticulously, but something still happened to Qinchu. This proved that Huasiqian's ability to take advantage of every opening was too strong. Therefore, Suyu didn't really trust his subordinates to do the job. Initially, he thought that his grandfather wouldn't agree and that he would have to spend a lot of effort to convince him. But surprisingly, Lord Su actually agreed. He thought for a while and said, "That's good too. Things will be easier if you go. Everyone knows that you're my grandson, so they'll still give you some face." Grandpa, how is that a thin face? It's clearly a very, very big face, okay? Stop talking nonsense. Continue to kneel. You can't leave until midnight. Hey Grandpa, I have to catch a flight to Jing City tomorrow. No matter how much Suyu protested, Lord Su refused to compromise. The reason was because Suyu had gone too far this time. The old man was scared half to death. He had seen all kinds of storms. After working in the army for so many years, he was actually scared by his grandson. That pistol had too strong a penetrating power. Lord Su didn't dare to believe it. What if he missed and really shot Suyu in the head? He didn't dare to take that risk, nor could he bear that kind of tragedy. Therefore he compromised and let his grandson lead him by the nose. Suyu stayed in the ancestral hall, but his heart was much more at ease. When he heard that he would be able to see Huamin tomorrow, his heart felt warm. However, when he thought about Huamin's pregnancy, he felt sad. Although he knew that this day would come, he didn't expect it to come so soon. If Qinchu knew that Huamin was pregnant, he would probably be overjoyed. After all, he was going to be a father. Late at night, Mrs. Su came to look for her son with her phone. Your phone isn't turned on? My grandfather confiscated it. Suyu looked bitter. Wei Liao called me. It seems like he has something urgent to talk to you about. Then Mrs. Su handed the phone to her son. Chapter 16-19. Hello. Lord Su. Go ahead. Are you okay? Wei Liao asked. I'm fine now. How are things with Huamin? When will she be back? About tomorrow. My grandpa just told me today. If everything goes well, I'll go pick up Huamin tomorrow. That's great, but we have some bad news. What bad news? Siyu was still a little confused. Did something happen at the prison? Or did the media start to expose that they were operating under the table and harboring murderers? Could it be that Mayor Song and Huasiqian started to do something? Just as his thoughts were running wild, Wei Liao said, something happened to Qin Chu. What's wrong? Siyu tried to stay calm. The plane that Rick arranged for him to go to the States crashed. We've been searching for him for a long time, but we still can't find anything. Everyone on the plane was basically blown to pieces. So, the chances of Qin Chu surviving are very slim. How did this happen? Suyu's eyes widened and his heart raced. It's the truth. We just saw Rick today and confirmed it with him. We don't want to believe it either, but it's true. So I want to ask you, if Huamin comes back, what should we tell her? Suyu fell silent. Who would dare to tell Huamin such a cruel thing? How did this happen? Huamin just got pregnant and Qin Chu got into an accident? Suyu was very sad. It was as if something was pressing down on his chest, making it hard for him to breathe. What? Huamin is pregnant? Wei Liao caught the main point. Oh my God. What should we do? Who would dare to tell her? I'm scared that she'll be upset. This matter can't be discussed for now. I'll go to the capital tomorrow to pick him up and we'll discuss it after I bring him back. After hanging up the phone worriedly, Suyu's expression changed. What's wrong, son? It's okay. Mom, I'm going to pack up. I might have to go to Jindo tomorrow. After that, Suyu stood up and left. His mother vaguely felt that her son's back was a little heavy. Wei family villa, what did you just say? Jiang Xiaowei came over and tugged at Wei Liao's arm. Borzu said, Huamin is pregnant. Wei Liao was also a little confused. Pregnant? Jiang Xiaowei was shocked. Yes, if Lord Su says she's pregnant, then there's no mistake. The military hospital definitely won't make a mistake. But why wasn't there any news from the prison? Could it be that she was pregnant back then and someone deliberately hid it? Jiang Xiaowei reacted quickly and immediately understood what was going on. That's very possible. After all, the situation in the prison is very complicated. It's not strange that Mayor Song's people are involved. Mion's pregnancy. That's great news. But Qin Chu. Before Jiang Xiaowei could finish, the couple fell silent again. The timing of Huomin's pregnancy was too sensitive. If she found out about Qin Chu, how was she going to face it? Jiang Xiaowei couldn't imagine what Huomin would be like without Qin Chu. The next morning, Lord Su received a call from the capital that Huomin was temporarily released. Su Yu took the 8 a.m. flight to the capital to pick him up. Huomian packed up her things, dressed neatly, and waited to leave. She was very excited. When the door opened and she saw Su Yu, she was a little surprised. Why are you here? To take you home. Su Yu looked at Huomin's face and his heart was filled with happiness. In this world, there was a feeling called, I'm satisfied to see you safe and sound. For Su Yu, he didn't dare to expect too much. He didn't want to see Huomin walk out in one piece. He had nothing else to ask for. While Huomin was still in a daze, he strode over and picked up Huomin's luggage. What are you waiting for? Come with me. Su Yu turned around and smiled at Huomin. Only then did Huomian realize what was going on and jogged to catch up with him. Can you not be so reckless? You're going to be a mother soon. Can you slow down? Seeing Huomin jogging, Su Yu was scared out of his wits and quickly stopped to talk her out of it. You know. Huomin smiled shyly. Chapter 16:20. Congratulations. Su Yu looked at Huomin and slowly congratulated him. Thank you. Huomin's heart was filled with happiness when he thought about the 2 lives in his stomach. It was already 1:00 in the afternoon when he and Su Yu arrived at Sea City on the plane. After they got off the plane, Imperial Star's chauffeur drove Su Yu's beloved car, a black Lamborghini, to the airport. Then he took Huomin straight to a high-end restaurant in the city center. Everyone was waiting at the door to greet them. Wei Liao, Tang Chuan, Jiang Xiaowei, Jixin, Zhu Lingling, Gao Ran and Ai Yong and Qin Jia. When Huomin got out of the car and saw everyone, his eyes became slightly moist. Although he had only been in prison for a few days, it felt like a century had passed. Wow, look at our genius back. Tang Chuan teased. Everyone stood in a row and smiled at Huomin. What a big scene. Huomin got out of the car and smiled at everyone. Meow. Come, step over the brazier to get rid of the bad luck. Zhu Lingling was quite superstitious. Yesterday she went out of her way to buy this brazier. It was filled with charcoal and it was burning bright red. Then Huomin carefully stepped over the brazier. Everyone applauded. Yixin immediately ran over and hugged her neck tightly. Sis, you scared me. I missed you so much. Yixin couldn't hold back his tears anymore. Ever since he found out that his sister was sentenced to death, he had completely collapsed. He didn't eat or drink for years and lost a lot of weight. I'm sorry. I made you worry. Huomin lovingly patted Jixin's head. Then she looked up and glanced at everyone's faces. She smiled and bowed to everyone apologetically. I'm sorry, I really made everyone worry. Hey, what are you talking about? Why are you being so polite to us? Zhu Lingling immediately walked up and grabbed Huomin's hand. Let's go and welcome you back. Then, everyone entered the private room on the top floor of the hotel. Not far away, Huasiqian sat in a black Buick minivan and watched everything quietly. Boss, should we kidnap Miss Hua? No need. When Huasiqian received the news that Huomin was pregnant, he was slightly shocked. Because this wasn't part of his plan. Another accident. Su Yu ruined his perfect plan, which made him very angry. Without a doubt, Huomin's and mean S's and means is moon. I really don't want you to give birth to this child. What should I do? Huasiqian's at Huomian. She didn't want Huomin to give birth to any other man's child. However, he didn't have the heart to hurt Huomin. Boss, what should we do now? Let me think about it. Then Huasiqian gestured for the car to start driving. The black Buick minivan slowly drove away without arousing anyone's suspicions. Inside the private room, everyone sat down. On Huomin's left was Jixin, and on his right was Zhu Lingling. Then there was Gao Ran and Ai Yong and Qin Jia. Next to Jixin were Jiang Xiaowei, Wei Liao, Su Yu and Tang Chuan. After the dishes were served, before anyone could say anything, Huamin looked at Zhu Lingling and said, Lingling, lend me your phone. Wait, I'm calling Rick. He's been helping me and Qin Chu lately. We can't leave him out of this meal. After Huamin finished speaking, everyone's expressions changed slightly. Chapter 1621. The truth is, Jixin paused. He really didn't have the heart to tell his sister. Just then Su Yu stood up and said, Huamin, I called Rick. He went out and hasn't come back yet. Yeah, so when he comes back he'll come find you. Don't worry. Hey, let's eat then. Huamin sat down with a smile on his face. Sis, did you eat bad food in there? Jixin asked. Sis, is that cornmeal cornbread? And Yang chimed in as well. No way. Cornbread is very expensive these days. I've been eating cornbread for dinner every day, Tang Chuan chimed in. No, I ate pretty well. I had 4 dishes and 1 soup for every meal. After I got to Jing City I ate even better. Professor Luo took great care of me. Speaking of which, I have to thank someone. Huamin held a glass of juice in front of him and looked at Su Yu. Thank you for helping me get out of danger again. I can't repay you for saving my life. So you're going to give yourself to Lord Su? Ha, Tang Chuan teased. Ahem. Huamin coughed a little awkwardly and continued, I can't repay Lord Su's kindness with ingratitude. After Huamin's witty reply, everyone laughed. Su Yu was also amused. If you say so, then I'm relieved. Thank you so much. Anything I say now is meaningless. Anyways, if you ever need me, Huamin, in the future, I'll do anything. Everyone here can be a witness. If one day I, Huamin, stand by and watch Lord Su coldly when he needs me, then I'll die a horrible death. You're crazy. Say something so inauspicious. Shut your mouth. My life has been very successful and I don't have to worry about food and clothing. I'll never ask you for help, so I'm scared that you won't have a chance to repay me. Su Yu hated Huamin's harsh words, so he stopped him from saying anything more. I'll give you a toast. Wait, you're pregnant right now, you can't drink juice. Waiter, bring in 2 bottles of water. Su Yu's words immediately ignited the crowd. Other than Jiang Xiaowei and Wei Liao, everyone else was going crazy. Tang Chuan. Fuck, Lord Su, what did you say? Zhu Lingling, pregnant? Who? Gao Ran, Mion's pregnant? Is that so? Did I hear that right? And Yang, so Jixin and I are going to be uncles? Qinjia, boss, congratulations. Jixin, Mom, are you really pregnant? That's amazing. I'm just pregnant. What's with your expressions? Huamin couldn't help but glance at everyone's reactions and laugh. It's a good thing that we found out earlier. Otherwise, our expressions right now would be very interesting. Jiang Xiaowei laughed. Did I leak something? So you said on purpose. Oh my god. I can't believe it. Mion, are you really pregnant? Zhu Lingling grabbed Huamin's hand and shook it violently. Hey, be gentle, she's under heavy protection right now. Gao Ran immediately stopped Zhu Lingling's impulse. How long has it been, sis? And Yang was very calm as he looked at Huamin. Just over 50 days. At this moment, Su Yu interrupted again. So did anyone know that she's pregnant with twins? Tang Chuan, twins? This is crazy. Chapter 1622. Zhu Lingling, twins. Jiang Xiaowei, my Mion's pregnant is amazing. Gao Ran, so, did I win the legendary grand prize? Everyone knew that the probability of twins was very low, so they all went crazy. Sis, you're amazing. Sis, do you have 2 babies? Is it a boy or a girl? Jixin couldn't contain his joy and kept asking. They're still young, I can't tell if they're a boy or a girl. Huamin looked at everyone's expressions and was amused. Then she suddenly thought of something and glanced at Su Yu. I don't remember telling you, how did you know they were twins? Professor Luo told me. Su Yu looked proud. Okay, you win. Huamin subconsciously put her hand on her belly, full of happiness. Mr. Qin will be happy if he knows he loves kids. Now that there are 2 of them, the house is going to be lively. After Huamin said this, everyone fell silent. Everyone's expressions became strange again. She was smart and noticed that something was wrong. She looked up at everyone and asked, What's wrong with you guys? You're so expressive. No, nothing, we're just too shocked, we're happy for you, Gao Ran replied guiltily. Ha. I didn't think they were twins either. I'm really scared, I don't have twins in my family. Qin Chu's family doesn't have twins either. I didn't know the twins were born in such a way. Humin laughed. Come on. Let's bet on whether they're a boy or a girl. Tang Chuan deliberately changed the topic to liven up the atmosphere. Zhu Lingling, I'm guessing they're boys, they're going to be so naughty, huh? Gao Ran, I agree with my sharp-tongued Ling Jixin. I'm guessing a boy and a girl, huh, that's good. I'm so lucky as an uncle. Jiang Shaowei, I'm guessing a boy and a girl. That's the best way to have a son and a daughter. Wei Liao, I agree with my wife. And I Yang, I'm guessing it's 2 boys. It's nice for the older brother to take care of the younger brother. Qin Jia, then I'm guessing it's 2 girls. It's good that the elder sister is taking care of the younger sister. And I Yang, are you playing against me? Look at them, they all agree with my family's idea. Qin Jia, Tang Chuan, I'm guessing it's 2 boys. Huh, it's going to be big trouble in the future. In the end, Tang Chuan glanced at Su Yu, who had been silent all this while. Su Yu, what do you think? After a few seconds of silence, Su Yu glanced at Humin and said, 2 girls, right? Why? Tang Chuan was a little puzzled. I think when girls grow up, they'll be more obedient and dote on their parents. Boys are too naughty. Ah, you're right. Tang Chuan laughed loudly. Then everyone began to eat and the atmosphere became lively again. Su Yu glanced at Humin from afar. There was something he wanted to say, but he didn't say it out loud. In fact, he wanted to say that he hoped Humin would have 2 girls. The main reason was that girls would be as good as their mothers. If there were 2 more girls as cute as Humin in the world, it would be a very happy thing. Jixin kept putting food on his sister's plate, afraid that she wouldn't eat well. He was the epitome of a considerate man. Jixin, did Mom call you recently? Yeah. I just remembered now that you mentioned it. Hurry up and call her. She hasn't been able to reach you recently. She said she's worried. I can't take it anymore. He's always talking about going back to China. She'll probably stop thinking nonsense when she hears your voice. After speaking, Jixin picked up his phone and video called his mother. Humin took his phone to the bathroom in the private room and talked to his mother alone for a while. During this time, Jiang Shaowei immediately said, I think it's best if we don't tell Mian about Qin Chu for now. Chapter 1623. That's what I was thinking. She's pregnant and in the early stages. Her pregnancy isn't stable yet. We can't agitate her, Gao Ran said. But, how long do we have to keep it a secret? She's very smart. Zhu Lingling was worried. Let's keep it a secret for as long as we can. Anyways, it's better if she finds out later. Right now, she's still basking in the joy of being pregnant. I really don't want her to hear the news, Su Yu suggested. But my sister is very sensitive. I think she'll find out soon. Jixin lowered his head, his heart heavy again. Rick will probably tell Humin about it himself. Anyways, we don't know the details, so it's better not to tell her. Gao Ran looked at everyone. Finally, everyone nodded and decided to keep it a secret for now. No one dared to tell Humin. If she found out that Qin Chu was dead, then her whole world would collapse. When Humin came back from the phone call, he saw everyone eating quietly with their heads down. No one was talking and he immediately felt strange. Why aren't you guys talking? We were all waiting for you to come back. Zhu Lingling looked up and forced a smile. I just talked to my mom. She's relieved. You should stay at my place tonight. Jixin is also staying at my place for a few days. It's a critical time right now and Sky Blessing Court might not be safe enough. I have a lot of bodyguards. Jiang Shaowei suggested. Before Humin could speak, Su Yu said, Humin can't move around as she pleases right now. She still has to stay at the military hospital. Although she's out on medical parole, she can't move around like a normal person. You have to understand this. But don't worry, my grandpa is already trying to get her freedom back. But her freedom is still restricted? Zhu Lingling looked displeased. What do you think? Was Humian a murderer? To be able to get the criminals who are going to be executed by shooting in such a short time. Commander Su is really amazing. He instantly killed a scumbag like my dad. Ever since Qin Chu and Humin got into trouble, Gao Ran was extremely dissatisfied with his father. He felt that his father didn't do his best. In fact, although Gao Ran's father was in the provincial office, His position was not high enough to bail out a murderer. There was no way Mayor Song would let such a mistake happen. Sis, I'll have to trouble you for now. And Young looked at Huamin with heartache. I'm fine, this is already very good. I'm really satisfied. Huamin originally thought that Huasiqian wouldn't have the heart to kill her and would find a scapegoat. When the time came, the truth would be revealed. However, he did not expect that Huasiqian would not make a move. Could it be that he really wished for him to die? Ma will visit you often. Stay in the military hospital and take care of the baby. Think about the baby and eat more, Jiang Shaowei comforted her. Of course, I won't let you guys worry. When I see Rick and find out that Mr. Qin is in the States, I'll stay here for a while. When I'm ready to leave, I'll go to the States and meet up with him. Maybe the baby will be born there. Haha, but you aunties and uncles have to give me gifts and red packets. I'll pay for the plane tickets. You guys have to come to the States to visit me and the baby. Huamin took the opportunity to daydream. However, everyone's hearts sank after hearing what she said. Chapter 1624. Before Huamin could figure out what was going on, Siyu immediately stood up and looked at his watch. It's almost time. I'll take Huamin to the military hospital first. Don't let the higher-ups suspect anything. She can't appear in public right now, so please don't tell anyone that Huamin is back. I'll arrange another time for her to meet you guys. Bye. That's all for today. Gao Ran stood up as well. Everyone said goodbye to Huamin and left the hotel. Suyu drove very slowly in the Lamborghini. Huamin could clearly feel that the car was moving at a snail's pace. Hey, at this speed, can we get to the military hospital before dark? I can't drive too fast. After all, you're pregnant. I'm just pregnant, not critically ill. Don't be so careful, okay? Huamin couldn't help but laugh. Huamian, have you ever thought about why you didn't get pregnant for so long? Why are you suddenly pregnant now? Suyu suddenly asked a critical question. Huamin's eyes dimmed slightly. I've thought about it. Maybe I know what's going on. What do you think went wrong? Suyu tilted his head and glanced at Huamin. I used to eat at home in Southside Recuperation Center. Then, after Qin Chu and I got divorced, I didn't eat at South Hill Manor or Southside Recuperation Center. I've always been cooking at Sky Blessing Court, so I suspect someone must have done something to the food at home in Southside Recuperation Center. Have you verified it? Huamin shook his head. Not yet. It's just my guess. Maybe I'm overthinking it. Maybe I'm only 2 at this time. I really don't want to think about it. Do you need to verify it? I can help you look into it. On the surface, Suyu was always baring his fangs and brandishing his claws. However, he was actually a very thoughtful person. Huamin had not been pregnant for such a long time. Now she was pregnant during this sensitive period. Could it be that someone had done something? That was why he wanted to investigate for Huamin. Now that Qin Chu was not around, he had to take care of Huamin, didn't he? When he thought of Qin Chu's accident, Suyu felt very uncomfortable. A few days ago, when he went to talk to Qin Chu alone, Qin Chu had said that if one day he was no longer around, he had to take care of Huamin for him. Were those his last words? Watch the road. Seeing that Suyu was distracted, Huamin immediately reached out to help him adjust the steering wheel so that they could avoid the oncoming car. Only then did Suyu come back to his senses. You were distracted? Huamin glanced at Suyu. Yeah. What are you thinking about? Huamin asked curiously. I'm thinking that I should help you investigate if someone did something to your food. Suyu quickly adapted. Oh, it's okay. I don't want to pursue it. Why? Don't you want to know who set you up? I don't even need to guess. If there really was someone who could do something to my house in Southside, it would be Huasiqian. I just don't want to investigate anymore. I'm tired. Whether or not this happened, Huasiqian is my enemy. I'll never forgive him. After Qin Chu and I get over this, I'll come up with a perfect plan. When the time comes, I'll make Huasiqian regret everything he did to me and Qin Chu. He can't keep bullying me just because we're kind. We have a bottom line. So you could tell that Huamin hated Huasiqian to the core. It was a bone-deep hatred. Chapter 1625. You're pregnant right now. The most important thing is to protect yourself and the baby. The news of your return was kept a secret, but Huasiqian might know about it. So it's better to be careful. Suyu felt uneasy. He used to be on tenterhooks protecting Huamin. Now that Huamin was pregnant, he had to be even more on tenterhooks. There were 3 of them now. If he couldn't protect them, how could he face Qin-Chu's trust? Suyu thought about it sometimes and found it unbelievable that the person who trusted him was his love rival. Qin-Chu was willing to leave Huamin in his care. What kind of trust was that? Maybe Qin-Chu felt bitter about it. Suyu felt like he hadn't done enough for Huamin. Maybe he would never be able to match up to Qin-Chu. Just the 7 years of forbearance and 3 years of high school were already incomparable to him. He only hoped that he could see Huamin live a peaceful and happy life as long as he lived. That would be great. Suyu drove Huamin to the Military General Hospital. He specially booked a VIP room and hired a nurse to take care of her. Before he left, he repeatedly reminded the nurse, "You have to be careful. She's pregnant with twins." "I'll do my best. Don't worry, young Master Su." The nurse was also very nervous. "See, I'm fine. Don't be so nervous." Huamin looked at Suyu amused. Seeing how nervous Suyu was right now, people who didn't know would think that the twins were his. "You can't be careless right now. Call me if you need anything. Because of your sensitive status, you can't use any communication devices. I won't leave my phone with you. There's a landline here. You can remember the number, so just call me if you need anything. I'll come over every day." "You don't have to come every day. Go to your work. There's a lot of work waiting for you at Imperial Star." Huamin felt extremely guilty and didn't want to trouble Suyu anymore. "That's not a problem. Just focus on taking care of the baby." Suyu waved his hand and left the hospital. Huamin lay on the hospital bed and watched the prenatal education program on the television. He did not realize that something had happened to Qin-Chu. After watching TV, she was a little sleepy. Just as she was about to rest, she suddenly thought of a problem. Then he would call Rick. The phone rang for a long time before Rick picked it up. "I'm Huamin." "Yes. By the way, after you sent Qin-Chu to America, did you meet up with my in-laws? I'm a little worried about my father-in-law's condition. I don't know how he is. Can you help me contact them? I want to talk to them. I just need to talk to my mother-in-law. If it's convenient, it would be best if I could talk to Qin-Chu." Huamin didn't want to trouble Rick. He knew that this was a special time. Therefore he made his request very tactfully. Rick was silent on the other side of the phone. "Rick, are you listening?" Huamin thought that the signal was bad. "I'm listening." Rick's voice was very deep. "Can you help me contact them?" "Huamin, there's a problem over there." "How about this? Where are you?" "I'll come over and find you." "I'm at the Military General Hospital. But I don't think you can just come and see me. You can contact Suyu and ask him to arrange a meeting for us." "I'll call Suyu." "Rick, what's wrong over in America?" Huamin asked anxiously. "I'll talk to you in detail when we meet." Rick didn't want to talk about this over the phone, so he decided to talk to Huamin in person. In the evening, Suyu received a call from Rick and was about to leave the house. However, his mother stopped him. "Son, is Huamin back yet?" Mrs. Su looked at her son and asked, "You're tuning in to the Biao's Wuxiao Chronicles YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories."